Well, guys, Stan here with Jerusalem Naturals once again, and it is time to feed the plant, right? So I'm going to get a pH reading of my water. Right here, I have a 32-ounce trash can that filled up with reverse osmosis water, um, and I'm just testing not just the pH but the ppms, which is the actual reading of how clean the water is, just to make sure that my reverse osmosis is putting out clean water. And I'm starting off with clean and then adding nutrients to that, right? So it's very clean. I'm here at a 13. Let me move this around. There we go. Get some of that good melanin, that sun. You see this here. Hopefully you can see it. I'm at a 13 ppm. And 13 ppms is very clean. The closer to zero you are, the actual cleaner the water, the purer the H2O is. And get another reading on this. My pH typically is supposed to be somewhere around 6.9 to 7.3, depending. It's going. I'm going to give it some time. In the meantime, while that's actually getting a reading, because I want to get an accurate reading, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be adding. Today is going to be a very light feeding because I have seedlings that I'm going to be feeding as well. Got to go with organic. Got to go with something that is the most organic driven. I don't have any of my compost tea available at the moment. All of my plants are well fed. I want to get that disclosed. I have my amendments in that soil. I have seaweed and humic acid in that soil. But I always see that there is a benefit to giving them a liquid feed when they're young. It's like it starts off their metabolism to a point where this plant is going to be, instead of a marathon runner, it's going to be a marathon sprinter. And I need as much as I can get out of this season. So when things are hot and blistering in the summer, I still want them to be able to run through, regardless to how much they may slow up due to the heat. And then by then I will have other plants that I've already started to kind of cycle them out. But here it is. The pH meter is finished right at about, hopefully you guys can see it, 6.5-ish. Okay? Still want to let that go some more, because that's rather high. And my feeding technique today was going to be put only enough in there to get the pH level down to 6.2. I'm not going to worry about how strong it is. I'm not going to worry about the ppm meter after that point too much, because hold on. I might have to go calibrate this bad boy, because now it's giving me the readings that I expected I was going to get, 6.8. All right, now I'm going to have to go and calibrate it. So it's at this point I take its reading with a grain of salt. I know it's not going to be off too much, maybe off by a point or two, which can be significant actually, or by a whole actual numerical point. So it says, I just mixed up the water, get one last little reading. 7.1, 7.14, drop to 7.0. Here, I'll show you guys. Hopefully you can see it. It has now dropped to 6.9, which is kind of what I thought it was going to be in the first place, but it wasn't giving me that before. 6.84, 82, 81, 6.7. It's not too far off what I expected it was going to be in the first place, but seeing as I had to do multiple readings to even get to that, I'm going to take that with a grain of salt and say it is between 6.7 to 7. And that is actually quite drastic and different when you're trying to get it as specific as I want to get it, right? So what I'm going to do is add enough of this organic rich solution. I'm at the bare minimal, I'm at the bottom of it. And just enough to get it down to maybe a 6.2, 6.1. I want to stay in that 6 area, because right in that 6 area is where a lot of plants can uptake the most amount of various nutrients. So the more you verge into the acidics or the basis, which is anything above 7 is base, anything below 7 is acidic. You're going to change what the plant can uptake from the soil. So you might not get a good nitrogen uptake, not because your soil is deficient in nitrogen, but the pH may be so off that that plant can't uptake nitrogen and utilize that nitrogen that's in that soil. But most plants can uptake every nutrient they would like to within that 6. You can even go sometimes like 5.5 to about 6.8, maybe 7-ish range. So you have that much to kind of play with before you're now hindering your plants. I don't like to go below 6 unless I'm dealing with maybe blueberries, of course, because those like to be in around 4.4 to 5.4. Or something that is very touchy and feely like that, that needs to be in a acidic soil or needs to be in a basic soil. Most plants on the planet are going to want somewhere between 6 to 7. 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, blah, 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 blah. You can dance around between that all day long. Why I love to organic garden is because when you're using organic soil, if you vary off or if you have an accident, you feed with like a good 7.5, which is too acidic. The microbes in the soil are going to act as a buffering to try to help neutralize that down to where the plants like it. It's only going to work for so much. You can't just put in a 9 point something solution and think that things are just going to balance out. But it does act as a good safety net for those of us who may vary off a little too much. And that's why I'm not too concerned about today's pH reading, because I know my soil is full of microbes, it's full of life, it's full of fungus, it's full of everything that is needed, so that it's regardless to me being off maybe by 1 point or so, or 2 points or so, that soil is going to take all the nutrients because you have good microbe life. That is why my soil is the best soil ever. Anyways, so now that I gave that a good stir, I'm going to go ahead and get another reading, mind you, with a grain of salt. Okay. 7.0. Mind you, we were at like a 6.7. So I'm expecting it to go lower than that. Most of these nutrients that we're going to use have an acidic adding effect to a solution. So I'm expecting a little bit lower than 6.7. I added bare minimal. We're in the 6.7s now. 6.77, 6.76. Now I added a little. I don't expect it to really even go down to 6.5, to be honest. But this is just to show you the technique that I'm applying today. I am not applying by the book, because by the book will drop me down to a definite maybe like 5.9. Don't need that right now. And I don't have my pH regulators to boost up the pH of the solution to get it to that 6.5, that beautiful 6.5 range. So I'm just going to add the bare minimal amount, and whatever that amount is, that drops it to maybe a good 6.2, or maybe even 6.1. I might go that low. Maybe. That would be however strong the solution is. We're at a 6.6 right now. What does that say? You guys can see it? 6.5958, 6.61. It stopped at 6.61. I am going to go a little bit more because I want at least enough nutrients in there to do something. And I have a set number that I am not willing to go under. So a lot of people who are just new to this are going to they get to the point where they're like, I'm going to, I want it to be as strong as possible because I want my plants to uptake as much nutrients. You may do more harm than good with that. You very well may do more harm than good with that. Boom. I feel like this is going to put me right at 6.3, 6.2. Actually, I have something I could be adding to this. Give me like 10 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. So a definite shout out to Mark and Ben. Actually threw this in last time I was there. It is a commercial grade concentrate of seaweed and humic acids. Humic acid is going to add a component to the soil that allows good fungus growth, beneficial fungus, endorhizal and ectorhizal fungus, mycorrhizal fungus, to get into that soil. That fungus is going to penetrate the roots and allow nutrient uptake even better than it would if it wasn't, right? That seaweed is going to add a good growth hormone component to the actual solution. So let's see where we are now, because now I want to add some of that, but I don't want to go lower than, like I said, 6.2, maybe 6.1, not even. All right. So let's see where we're at. It's dropping. Definitely want to add some of that. That good growth hormone that is found in seaweed, because seaweed is one of the fastest growing plants on the planet, and growth hormone, that which most every plant shares, is something that is produced in the roots that endorses the plant to put out more growth, is more highly concentrated in seaweed because of its fast growing. They cut it, dry it, and once that's applied to your soil, your plant has extra growth hormone to benefit from, which actually inspires faster growth. So let's see where we're at. We're at a 6.7, 6.8. And like I told you guys, I'm taking this reading with a grain of salt. So six seven, 6.75. It's dancing right around there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a smooth 6 point, maybe 4, because it said 6.7. I said 6.5-ish before I added the little bit of extra, right? So with that being said, I'm going to use discretion, and this is discretion that I'm going to use because I've been doing this for over 15 years. I'm going to sprinkle some of this humic acid and seaweed right in the solution. And because it is an all organic amendment additive that I'm adding to it, I'm not too concerned about it changing the pH too much, because like I said, all things included in organic gardening that break down in the soil, they get regulated by that buffer anyway. So boom, and there we have it. And what I will do is I'll see how strong it got. It was at a 13 ppm, which is very pure water, purer than your bottled water for sure. And we are at a 164 ppm. Now that might seem like a very drastic change, but for the plants, it's not. It's not crazy. Now drinking water wise, you just went from pure water to something you don't even want to be dealing with. But believe it or not, your tap water, especially if you're in Texas, is like a 400 and something ppm. So think about that for those of us who are still drinking tap water in 2025. Ew. What are you doing? What are you doing? So that's how I'm going to feed today, guys. That is pretty much it. I'm going to be setting up some trellis netting because I have those sugar magnolia tendril peas that need to grab onto something. And I'm going to let them grab. I'm going to let them grow and do whatever the heck they want to do so I can eat from my garden without having to spend that bread. It's been a great one, guys. Staying here with Jerusalem Naturals and keep growing, guys. Peace.